All right, good afternoon, guys. Here for the afternoon session for today. So hopefully everyone's doing well. Make sure everyone's getting a chance to pop on in here for the 1 o'clock session. If you want to say something, so wait a few minutes for some people to check in. All right, so good afternoon. All right, anybody in here that have any questions? It looks like I'm still waiting on a few more people. We're talking about the muscular system, and if you have any questions about your project, which will be due Friday along with all other work. Okay, we have a few more people in here. Looks like hello there, Samuel. How are you? I think how you doing, Christian? Good to see you as well, Christian and Samuel. Any questions that you have so far on the muscular system before I go over some things here? All right, any questions that you guys have? All right, well, I'm going to talk about the muscular system here too. So I'll just kind of go over some things that we've been studying here. So if you could answer, what is a muscle? What is a muscle? Christian or Sam? What is a muscle? You could say it in your own words or just type it in the space bar there. What is a muscle? Okay, very good. Soft tissue is what Sam says. Nice job there. It is a type of soft tissue. So muscle is made of strong tissue, and it could be soft in some aspect, but it's actually a little stronger, and it can contract in an orderly way. So your muscular system is made of different types of muscles that have several functions as well. Okay, so all muscle tissues are made of cells that contract. So like when you flex your arm, that becomes shorter. So when the cells of a muscle contract, the muscle tissue becomes shorter, so they contract like a bicep. The muscle tissues return to their original length when the cells actually relax. Okay, so they actually relax when they go straight, and then they contract to shorter when they become shorter there. So many of your muscles, what are some, let me ask you this here for those that are in here. Looks like Sam and Christian. What are some functions of muscles? What are some functions of muscles? Like, what do they do? What's sort of their purpose? What are some of the functions of muscles? What do they do? Okay. All right. Very good. They help us move. Very good, Christian. So they help us move. So that's one function. So movement. Many of our muscles help for you to move. So most of these muscles are attached to bones. These muscles make your skeletons move, and when muscles contract, they move bones. So this movement can be fast, such as when we run. When you run, the movement could also be slow, such as when you stretch as well too. Okay, all right. So very good. Heart pumping as well, as Sam said there for movement. Okay, with the cardiac, which we'll get into that a little bit later. So you have many muscles in your body that are not attached to bones. Okay, for example, that would be like your heart, your stomach muscles for digestion, some in your blood vessels for pumping blood, like you said, as well. Okay, all right, good job. All right. Another function is stability, okay, that muscles do for us. They help us become stable, like in our posture and how we stand and so on like that. So muscles are attached to your bones, support to your bones, and they support your body to help you keep balance, okay? So tendons are attached muscles to bones, all right? So tendons work with muscles to keep your joints in place when your body moves. So tendons also help your body in correct posture, like I was saying, like standing straight and so on like that. And even smooth, like you mentioned, smooth muscle cells there, so that could be another factor in there as well too. Okay, all right, so good job there. All right, excellent. All right, so functions would be tendons are strong but flexible enough, enable the joints to move, okay, for their functions. And functions are protection as well too. So they help protect. Muscles help protect us as well. So muscles protect your body. They cover most of your skeleton, and muscles also cover most of the organs inside your bodies as well. Okay, like your heart, your liver, your lungs, those areas too. So muscles are like a layer of padding, and they surround your abdomen, chest, and back, and protect your internal organs as well. Okay, all right. So that's how they come to play with that. All right, excellent. Any questions so far? All right, moving on. Okay. Another function that muscles do is they help regulate our temperature, our body temperature. Okay. So, for example, your muscle systems help keep your internal temperature within a certain range. So, if you ever felt cold and started to shiver, yeah, you're shivering are muscles that are rapidly contracting. So, they change chemical energy to thermal energy, and this releases thermal energy which helps maintain your body's temperature. Okay, so that's what kind of comes to play for that there. All right, all right. We got somebody else in here. Hello, we got. I want to say that's Matthew. Hi, Matthew. All right, make sure you are turning in your work there too, Matthew. All work. Hi, Matthew V. Thanks for checking in with us today. Don't just as I'm continuing talking about muscles here. Don't forget your projects. Your project is due on Friday, along with all your other missing work. So please turn in all your missing work. That's your brain pops or any other projects that we did, like digestion, respiratory, circulatory. We covered all these body systems over this last month or last few months with the fourth quarter here. Okay, so make sure you're keeping up with that. So we're talking about temperature, how it regulates and keeps us warm. Our muscles help in that factor there too. So it's important because the human body's temperatures must stay around 37 degrees Celsius in order for the body to function properly. Okay, so muscles also change chemical energy. Okay, to thermal energy during exercise from the food that you eat before you work out, and then they turn it into like heat energy as you're working out. This is why you feel warm or you start to sweat after physical activity or workouts. Okay, so that kind of comes to factor with that. Okay, any other questions so far? All right, excellent. All right. So there are three main types of muscles. All right, this is a review from Monday as well, and this is what your project has to do with is you're creating a Venn diagram. All right, don't forget a Venn diagram is a chart that compares and contrasts certain things or items. You might have learned it in literature or English, comparing characters in novels and books and stuff like that, and how they are the similar and how are they different. So we're talking about the muscular system here, and you have three types of muscles that we learned about. All right, and they are um, skeletal muscles. All right, smooth muscles and cardiac muscles. So those are the three types that we talked about there. Okay. All right, let's move on. So each type of muscle is specialized for a different function. So, like I said, skeletal muscles, they're attached to our bones. Smooth muscles, those are around our organs, and cardiac muscles are around our heart. So they are all different from one another. So the first type one I'm going to talk about are called um, skeletal muscles. Now, the skeletal muscles are muscles that are attached to bones in the skeletal muscles. So they are called voluntary muscles. What voluntary muscles means are they're muscles that you can consciously control, like your arm, your leg, movement that way. Okay. All right. Looks like we have somebody else in here. Okay. We have. All right. Looks like Alex in here. I'm not too sure if it's a question or just a comment there. If you want to restate that. I don't know what the link to XD is. I don't have a link on that, so I'm not too sure what you mean by that. If you want to restate that, because I'm on my Microsoft Teams as well. Did not see what you're asking for. Okay. All right. Okay, moving on skeletal muscles here. So skeletal muscles are muscles that attach to bones in the skeletal system, like I was saying, and they are muscles that you can consciously control. Okay. For example, you could control whether or not you lift your leg, and the contractions of the skeletal muscles can be quick and powerful, such as when you run for that. And however, contracting these muscles um, for a long time can tire them out, or you can develop a cramp. How many of you guys in here have ever had a cramp? Okay. How many people have had a cramp in here before? Okay, it looks like Sam had one before. Can you explain what that felt like to you when you had a cramp? Maybe you had it in your leg, maybe you had it in your arm. I don't know where you might have had it before. Okay. Okay, sounds like Matthew had one. So Matthew and Sam both have had cramps. All right. So a cramp is actually when the muscle becomes overused or strained. Okay. So it could be, it could hurt, and it definitely hurts when you're walking. You could stop in the middle of your. That's why you see a lot of athletes go straight to the ground, whether soccer players, football players. You'll see them lay straight on their back. They'll have some trainers come out. They'll have to stretch their legs because those muscles become overused, or they have a buildup of lactic acid in those muscles. And that's just what the breakdown of some of maybe their food and digestion and the overuse of that muscle really working. Yeah, you get them in your legs a lot. They are pretty painful. They actually hurt. I've been jogging a lot lately, so I've been noticing one in my left calf muscle. So whenever I come back, I sometimes have to stretch it before I work out. It's always a good idea to stretch before you exercise. Sometimes when it acts up, I'll have to stop running and just stretch it and walk on it for a little bit, then continue running. But it's been a little bit sore that way too. All right, so that's another one there too. So cramp. So skeletal muscles work by pulling on bones. So muscles cannot push on bones. Instead, muscles work in pairs and move the body. Okay, so that's how for movement. So types of skeletal muscles, like I was saying, like your bicep, when your bicep muscles contract, your muscles shorten, pulling the lower arm up. Long, thin skeletal muscles look like they have stripes, or they call those striations in the muscle. So when the bicep muscles relax, the tricep muscles contract, and the lower arm is actually usually pulled down. So remember, you have a bicep and a tricep on the back side of that muscle there too on your arm. Okay. All right, moving on here. Types of skeletal muscles, still talking about types of skeletal muscles. Your skeletal muscles can change throughout your lifetime. If you exercise, your muscle cells get larger. Then your entire muscle becomes longer and larger and stronger, okay, from working out. Okay. So that's why it's always a good idea to keep in shape, so you're keeping up with your physical activity there too, so you can build muscle throughout your lifetime of being healthy that way. Okay, and doing physical activities. All right, now the next type of muscle, like I mentioned, was called a cardiac muscle. So your heart is made of cardiac muscles, which are found only in your heart. A cardiac muscle is a type of involuntary muscle, which is a muscle you cannot consciously control. Okay, so that is one that's like you said, like your heart's continuously beating. You don't have to think for it to, it just happens. Okay, so it's an involuntary muscle. Same with like when you digest food, it's an involuntary muscle that it's going through the digestion process and don't even think that it's getting pushed through. Okay, there's muscles moving in that area as well. Okay, so the cardiac muscles contract and relax, and they pump blood through your heart and through vessels throughout your body. So cardiac muscle cells have branches with discs at their ends, and the discs send signals to other cardiac muscle cells. So the signals cause the cardiac muscle cells to contract at almost the same time. Okay. So like I was saying, that's cardiac muscle cells there. All right. The next type of muscle is one called the smooth muscles. Okay. Muscles line your blood vessels and many other of your organs. So like your stomach, like I was mentioning, your bladder, your esophagus, these are smooth muscle vessels. So they help for the movement of food and things getting stored in that area. So smooth muscles are involuntary muscles named for their smooth appearance. So contraction of smooth muscles help move material through your body, such as food in your stomach. So smooth muscles also control the movement of blood through your vessels as well. Okay, so they help out with your blood vessels that way too. Okay, all right. Any questions so far? All right, continuing on. Okay, we talked about that word peristalsis, and that was the movement of those muscles pushing things down from your esophagus to your stomach. Your bladder will have an action called peristalsis, which is the pushing on there and those muscles movement. All right, question here. Um, what is uh, what is um, what is one way um, you can have healthy muscles other than exercise? What's another way that you could keep your muscles healthy? Yeah, Alex, I didn't put out the link for that. You just have to subscribe to the channel to get on here. Okay, so I see that eat healthy foods, very good. All right, excellent there. Thank you, Alex, for answering that. So good job. So yeah, eating healthy food and healthy and exercise, eating a healthy diet and exercise are ways you're going to keep your muscles healthy. So your muscles need a healthy, full diet. All of your muscles use energy when they contract. So this energy comes from food that you eat. So eating a diet full of nutrition such as proteins, fibers, potassium could keep your muscles strong, especially protein, fiber with certain types of bread and your oatmeal, that kind of stuff. Potassium, eating a lot of your vegetables that way. Potatoes have good amounts of potassium. Chicken for protein. So you want to have a balanced diet, a mix of your animal proteins and plant proteins there. Okay. All right. All right. So exercise, like I was saying, is also helps keep your muscles healthy. So muscles get smaller and weaker without exercise. So weak muscles can increase the risk of heart disease. So that's why it's a good idea to keep your muscles healthy, keep your soft body active, and to continue to keep movement. So bone injuries can happen more often when muscles are not healthy. So like we were talking about the skeletal system, like osteoporosis, the brittle bone, that could be like weak bones. So that you could have problems with that as you get older. So it's important to keep your muscles healthy. So joints might not be as stable when muscles are weak and small. So you want to keep movement with them. Okay. All right, any other questions? All right, excellent. All right. Yes, question there, Alex. Yeah, exercise would be another one. All right. Exercise and healthy food. So good job for participating there. Um, yeah, I overuse that. Yeah, Alex asks, why do I have pain in my calf? Just from running and using it, wear and tear over it. If you jog and use your muscles too much, that you could get, strains in your legs from that. Like a muscle pull. So mine's been because I've been jogging a lot lately. I have to take a rest on some days, but sometimes I notice a little bit of pain there, just overuse with it. Sometimes it could be from sitting too long. Sometimes, worry it's not a blood clot, but yeah, that could possibly be when you're sitting too long, you could cause that. So I'm kind of monitoring it right now. So I believe it's just probably from overuse of it. So it's not excruciating pain, but it's enough that I notice it there. So that's what I'm going to talk about next are muscle injuries. And one is, like I was just mentioning, is called a strain. So this is the tearing or stretching of a muscle fibers as they suddenly pull apart too far. So that could be from overuse from jogging. Since I run, a few days a week here, like I ran yesterday, so I didn't notice it hurting that much during the run. But when I came back home, I felt a little bit sore. So that could be one is a strain. Okay, all right. Um, so some ways to treat the strain, you could take some Aleve over-the-counter drugs. That way, Aleve, aspirin, Advil, that kind of stuff, and also an ice pack would work there too. I haven't really iced my leg; it hasn't been that excruciating, but if it got worse, I would probably put ice on that affected area as well. Okay, all right. So that could be another thing there too. All right. Another type of injury to the leg was we talked about there was a cramp. Okay, from some of the sports and athletes that get cramps, especially like in football or soccer where you're running and a lot. So it's an uncontrolled, prolonged contraction of a muscle accompanied by pain. You might have felt that before. It's like a Charlie horse pain or cramp. You ever wake up in the middle of the night with your leg like an excruciating pain from it? It could be sometimes it's pretty painful and it hurts whenever it happens at night. But that's when the uncontrolled prolonged contractions happen in the muscle. So some of the ways that these are caused by is a buildup of lactic acid in the muscle during immediately or after strenuous exercise, from running, lifting weights, that kind of stuff that could build up the lactic acid in the muscle there. Okay, and it's also caused by a lack of oxygen in the muscle due to poor circulation when in an awkward sitting position that way too. So a cramp can happen that way too. If you're sitting too long or awkwardly in a funny way, you could build a cramp in your leg or your joint that way too. Okay? All right. So another way to treat cramps, other than a way you can treat them is massaging them. Someone can massage them for you. Um, you can stretch with as well after the cramp pain. So those are some ways to help treat the cramp. How about bruises? Anyone ever have a bruise on their leg or their arm for a muscle bruise? Maybe you could share if that happened with you. I could share a story with me. So, a bruise is a discoloration of the muscle, black and blue spots caused by the blood from an injured muscle. Okay, if you ever had a black and blue mark, all right, that's from a discoloration of the muscle from the injury. Maybe you were in a bike accident or car accident, hopefully not. But actually, I had a black eye before under my eye. Got hit in the face with a hockey puck because I used to play hockey. So, right under my eye, turned to discoloration that way. So, it was a muscle bruise that way. Okay. All right. Looks like Matthew had one there too. If you want to share your story, you can as well there too. Okay, so a bruise, talking about a muscle bruise. All right, so treatments for bruises, cold compress to prevent swelling and ease the pain. That could be like ice or something cold from your refrigerator, put on the injured area. Okay, so that would be that one there too. All right, next I'm going to talk about some diseases and disorders of muscles and tendons. Okay, you may have heard of this one before. It's called tendonitis. And tendonitis is an inflammation or swelling of the tendons, especially in the knees, heels, shoulders, and elbows. All right, so tendonitis is pretty common as you get older, overusing those legs and muscles and so on. Okay, all right, so just double checking something here real quick. Okay, so yeah, riding your bike, you might have gotten a bruise that way there too. Okay, from riding your bicycle. All right. So yeah, if you've had a fall from that as well too. All right. So tendonitis is, like I said, an inflammation or swelling of the tendons. Like I said, knees, heels, shoulders, and elbows are some common areas where that can happen. So some treatments for tendonitis are anti-inflammatory drugs. That could be your over-the-counter Aleve and aspirin for that, for tendonitis. So that one's a pretty common one as you might get older there. All right. Um, the next one here is called trigger finger. And what trigger finger is a sheath around the tendon becoming swollen. So the finger becomes swollen, usually like your knuckle or your, it kind of like looks like a lock finger in a way, maybe an index finger because it looks how it gets its name because it kind of looks like you're pulling a trigger on a gun. So it's called trigger finger because the finger unlocks, it pops back suddenly and releasing like a trigger of the gun. So it's kind of like a your usually your pointer finger or an index finger that's kind of curled. Okay, so that's another type of muscle injury. Okay, or disorder. So this could be treated with they call with steroid injection into your wrist, into your hand. Okay, for this one. All right. All right. Looks like Alex had a bruise there. Um, Yeah, okay. I don't know what happened there, but hopefully you're okay. All right. All right. Next thing here, the next illness are operations. Operations to help deal with your injury that way too. Okay. All right. So operations could be another thing for dealing with injuries. All right. Um, Infection is another one, Tara. There's one that was pretty common way back in the day during the time of the Vietnam War, and it was an infection called gangrene. You might have heard of that one before, and it's a gangrene is the death of a muscle tissue due to bacterial infection or the absence of blood supply. So what happens is the feet areas become destroyed by tissue. A lot of the guys, the soldiers back then, were in boots for a long periods of time. So that bacteria infection within the boot, being out in the jungle for long periods of time, could cause what they call gangrene, and the muscle tissue dies. Okay, and what happens? The treatment for this is basically if it happened in their leg. Um, they would have to get that part of their leg cut off and removed because that could spread throughout the body and it could eventually kill the person. So the affected part has to be cut off or amputated like an arm or a leg. That's why so many soldiers coming back from Vietnam had some missing limbs. Okay, from that one. All right. Tumors are another one there too. Tumors are an abnormal mass of tissue. It usually occurs in women more so than men, but it does happen in both. And like this is relating to the muscle that way. Okay, so usually happens within the muscle, so it's an abnormal mass of tissue. Tissue is related to the muscle that way. Okay, so operations usually have to have tumors removed. Okay, all right. I'm almost finished here. And then I'll turn over to you guys here. I think there's only one more. Yeah. And that's called muscular dystrophy. So muscular dystrophy is an illness relating to the muscular system. And so it's inherited muscular disorder in which muscles slowly become very weak. Okay. So your muscles become very weak, muscular dystrophy. And they're characterized by progressive skeletal muscle weakness and deficits in muscle proteins and death of muscle cells and tissue. So there is no cure for muscular dystrophy. However, it mentions here that they should not be allowed to get overweight because this will make their conditions worse. So overeating and stuff like that. Okay, because they have a weakened system as it is. All right. All right, excellent. So that is everything that I had on my end of covering the muscular system and its parts and some of the illnesses and strains and diseases with it. Um, so, um, okay, looks like Christian says my grandmother's brother had it. Is that what you're talking about? Muscular dystrophy? That's what I'm assuming you're mentioning that there. Okay, so don't forget, project is due by Friday along with all other missing work. You are to create a Venn diagram of the three types of muscle cells. So those were, again, skeletal. Those were, skeletal, cardiac, and smooth muscle cells. Okay, cardiac, smooth, and cardiac, smooth, and skeletal muscle cells. So you're comparing and contrasting them. Any other questions that you may have? Okay, other than movement, if you were paying attention, what are some functions of muscles? We said movement was one. If you're paying attention, you could type your answer in here. So what are some functions of muscles? Movement I mentioned here. So what are some other functions of muscles? Okay, movement is one. Okay. Okay, helping in pumping blood to your heart. Very good. So movement, and we'll say that would be protection. Okay. All right, so I'm just looking for some keywords of what are some functions of muscles. So movement, protection's another one. Okay, support, very good. We'll say support there too. All right, so protection, support. What else? So we could say support is the same thing as stability. All right, and that was we talked about posture. What is it? Another one that helps us maintain homeostasis. What could be one there? Remember what homeostasis meant? Giving you a clue. Something to do with keeping us warm or cold. So, what are muscles? What's another function that they do? Okay, I'm telling you something that maintains homeostasis. Another function of muscles. We said movement, support, stability, protection. What else? Something to maintain homeostasis, which means our balance, overall balance within our body, our control center. So basically what I was looking for is temperature control. Okay, I mentioned that earlier there too. So temperature control. Muscles help keep us insulated or warm as well too. Okay? All right. Okay. So there are three types of muscles. All right. Of the three, which one, all right, those that are in here, which type of muscle which type of muscle attaches to bones? Which type of muscle attaches to bones? Which type of muscle attaches to bones? Okay, very good, Matthew. Very good. Type of muscle attaches to bones, and that's skeletal muscle. All right. All right. Which type of muscle? Next question. All right. Nice job. Are found in organs such as the stomach and bladder. So which type of muscle are found in organs such as the stomach and bladder? So the first one was skeletal. What's this next one here? Okay, nice job, Alex. That is the smooth muscles. So smooth muscles for that one. And your last one here. Which type of muscle are found? Type of muscle is found around the heart. Okay, so answer that one there too. Okay, this one's also an involuntary muscle. Okay, good job. Alex and Matthew, nice job. And that is cardiac muscles, so good job. All right, excellent job on answering that. All right, are there any more questions that you may have? Do we understand what we're doing for your project? Creating a Venn diagram. Those are the circles, that middle circle, then two outer circles. Comparing and contrasting, comparing the middle circles, how they're alike, all three of these muscle cells. On the outer ends, how they are all different from one another. Okay, that'll be due Friday. Okay, and along with all your other missing work. So if you're missing brain pops, get started on them. You have till Friday to get those into me. So um, make sure you're keeping up with the work. Okay. Any other questions? You may step. You can leave for this moment here. So in explaining the muscle cells. Okay, you're welcome there. Thank you there. Looks like we have someone that just checked in. Looks like Vicente. This is that you, Vicente? Don't forget there's a project due Friday. I need some of your work, Vicente. I'm missing a lot of stuff from you, so make sure you're getting your stuff to me, okay? You have till Friday to get all your work in, okay? So make sure you're doing that. I only got one thing and I won't have to be calling home, all right? Make sure you get to work into me. I know you've been checking in with me online. I just haven't gotten any of your stuff, so I've been seeing you coming in. So make sure you're doing the work and you're understanding the work. If you don't know something, ask, email, or message me on Teams. Okay. All right. Any other questions, concerns about the muscular system and our projects or missing works? There is no brain pop this week on the muscular system. So your last one would have been last week on the nervous system that we did. Okay. So nervous system and skeletal systems, those are the last few weeks of body systems that we did. All right. Any other questions? Looks like Vicente still on here. Alex. Okay, guys. Well, if there's no other questions, you can head on out. Um, hopefully, you got out. I went over everything with you guys there on your project and covering the muscular system with the main points and facts about things you need to know about the muscular system, what the types of cells, how they work, and how they're different from one another. Okay, we'll see you, Matthew. Get your work turned in. Thanks for checking in with me today. Stay safe there too. Thank you, Christian, as well, and Alex, Vicente. Thanks for all participating in today. Appreciate you guys coming in. All right, guys. All right, well, all right. We'll see you, Matthew. Goodbye. I'm going to be signing off here. If there's no other questions, there's only a couple of you guys in here. So if there's no other questions, you could always email me on Teams and or through email. Message me there. Projects due Friday, and all other missing work too for the quarter. So get your work completed. All right. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off since there's no other questions and there's only like one person left in here. So if you don't have any questions, now's your time to ask. So if not, I'll be signing out for the afternoon here. Okay. All right, guys. Well, have a good rest of your day. Hopefully, you're getting some exercise and get some sunshine out there. So, have a good day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Goodbye.